Hey, what's up everybody? Adobe Masters here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to take a 2D image and make it look 3D. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing just a little bit of camera magic to make a 2D image have a little bit of life to it and make it look good. We're going to be doing something that looks a little bit like this. So this was originally just a 2D image that I found online, and I'll show you where in just a second. And we've taken it and we've added this sort of flair to it, both literally and figuratively. We've added some motion, we've made it look kind of neat, and we've taken it from this 6-second clip of just looking at an image to making it have this sort of fun vibe to it that makes it look realistic. It makes it look a little bit more tangible. And so this is what we're going to be doing today. So let's get started. First thing we need is a high quality image to work with. All I went to was a website called Pixabay, and they just have some royalty free content that you can download and work with. I went to their main page and I found this image, thought it was pretty cool, so I downloaded it, and that's what I'm working with. I went ahead and downloaded the near 4K version right here. This will help you out because it'll give you just a little extra wiggle room whenever you want to do like a zoom or something. You won't ever run into the pixelation problems. Now, any of these images would be fine. Like for example, that one would be pretty fun to work with, and maybe that one I could see something with, but this one and maybe this one up here, those would be kind of hard because there's no image we can actually target. We want something with a strong central image like this that we can really target and make it look sort of, like I said, like make it look 3D. So once we have the image downloaded, we're going to go ahead and bring it into Premiere Pro, and then we're going to create ourselves a new sequence. So we'll go to File, New Sequence, and I'm going to keep with a 1920 by 1080p, a full HD sequence. I don't want to go with the picture resolution, A, because it's sort of a square, and B, because I want that wiggle room. I don't want to just go with the resolution because then I won't have that wiggle room. If I have, like, for example, an 8K photo or like a 16K photo, which isn't unheard of with more modern cameras, then I can go with a higher resolution sequence. But in this case, I'm just going to go with a full HD. We're going to go ahead and grab the picture and drag it in. Premiere Pro is automatically going to scale it so that it fits 100% in the frame. I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to scale it to what I like. So you can see that we're at 46.2%. Let's go ahead and just move that up, and all I'm doing is just sort of centering the image a little bit more, maybe right around there, and then maybe down a touch. And that's the framing I kind of like, and that's what I said. When you sort of have these sequences, you get a little bit more wiggle room here. You get a little bit more control over the image to frame it how you want to make it 3D, which is important because a lot of times having certain elements in it might not make it look good. So if we can just sort of frame it how we like, it'll make it a lot easier. Now that we have it like this, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut out our foreground. To do that, all we have to do is click on the footage, go over to opacity, and then click on the free draw Bezier tool right here. And then we can go ahead and create a mask. Now, Premiere Pro is a little bit annoying in its masks in that we have to zoom really far in if we want a precise mask. If we don't zoom really far in, you'll see that we have this sort of weird rotation thing, like that we want to rotate our mask constantly. So there's almost a dead zone here where we can't place any others because all it's going to do is it wants us to just rotate this. Like I said, that's like a use case that is hardly used, but for some reason Premiere Pro has it in there. And if we have it like at fit, we have to go this far away for each one of our points, and that is not very precise at all. So I like to zoom into like 150% and just use these to sort of navigate around the image. And then all we're going to do is go ahead and just mask this image out. The more precise it is, the better it may look in the long run. But yeah, this is a little bit of a tedious process, so I'll see you on the other side. And here we are finishing it up. To finish it, all we have to do is once it's completely done, we just drag over and go to the original keyframe right here in this circle up here. Click on that and it'll go ahead and initiate the cut here, the mask. So you can see that what it has done is it has taken it and it actually has cut it out of the background. So our foreground element is now above the background. However, we don't actually have a background anymore. So to get a background, all we have to do is hold the Alt key and drag up, and this is just going to duplicate the footage. Go to the bottom one and just delete the mask off of it. And now we have the background and the foreground. And you'll notice if we remove the background, all we have is the foreground. And if we remove the foreground, we just have the entirety of the background, which includes our foreground element that we cut out. However, now we can do something like this, where if we go ahead and create a big enough text box, we can just type, like some text, drag it in between the two. So this up on top is our foreground, this is our background. So now if we take this, we can grab it and actually have it go behind our image, just like so. So this is going to be helpful. We can add a cool element in between these if we want to make it look 3D. Maybe we have some text passing through as the background rotates, anything that we really want. Like I said, each image is going to be a little bit different. But what we want to do is we want to sort of make that background tilt. And the easiest way to do this is to go to our background, and we're going to use something called Basic 3D in the effects, Basic 3D. And I'm going to click on this and drag it onto the footage. And now you'll notice that we have these controls down here, and we can do all sorts of stuff with this. We can increase the distance or decrease the distance, but that gets a little difficult because our foreground's still there. The foreground element is still included in the background, so we'll have like a duplicate. But what we can do is we can do this swivel right here. And you'll notice that this creates a neat little illusion right like so. And we're gonna go ahead and clean this up as well, because you can see there is still a little bit of the duplicate showing through, but we can clean that up. So let's just go ahead and create the animation, and then we'll clean it up. Once on the background, we're gonna go to the swivel, we're gonna toggle the animation, move forward maybe about 6 seconds, and then just go the exact opposite of what that number was. So it was at negative 18, so we're just gonna drag it up to positive 18. And now you'll see what we have is this background that is swiveling around, and now we need to remove that sort of duplicate image that's coming in the background. Easiest way to do this is to go to our foreground element, the one that we cut out, the one where we have the mask right here. We're going to do two things. We're going to increase the feather a little bit, and then we're going to also increase the mask expansion a little bit. And so what exactly is this doing? Well, this is just taking it. You can sort of see it right there in the back, right close. If we remove the background here, you can see what we're doing. We're expanding the mask out. So the mask is originally right here. Now we're going to take it and we're going to expand it just a little bit. And what that's going to do is whenever we rotate it and there's that image right here of the background that is also this boy, it's going to go ahead and cover that up because the foreground is now just a little bit larger. And we can go ahead and match the feather. The more we feather, the blurrier it'll get. So we can actually even feather really high like this. And now it's almost like just this sort of really faint cutout. And so now whenever we rotate the background, we'll have a chance of removing the background. And maybe the feathers is a little bit too high. We want it strong enough that it removes the background enough. So maybe expand it a little more. Maybe right around here. And that looks good. So all we've done is we've just expanded the foreground mask so that it goes with the background. And because the background is what this image originally was, all we're doing is blending it in with itself so it doesn't look too unnatural. And now what we get is we get this sort of good movement happening here, where we have this 3D element that it looks like the boy is standing still and the background is rotating around him. Now, the problem is that there's still like this, if you look near the bottom of the rock, it still looks like just a cutout. There's some jankiness happening right there. So what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of something else to the image to enhance that 3D effect. And I noticed that there's a light right here. So what we can do is we can add a lens flare and then sort of animate it to maybe how a camera would be moving. So if I went in here and I searched for lens flare, you'll see that we have this, but it's a generate. It's under the video effects generate, which means if I drag it onto anything, it's just going to basically take over that thing and it's gonna look a little bit strange. So what I wanna do is just go ahead and create myself file new and then adjustment layer, right like so. And then if we go into the project, you'll note we have the adjustment layer right here. Drag and drop that on in between, or let's actually put it on top. I think on top will look best here. Back to effects, drag lens flare on, and then wait a second, and there it goes. Now it's popped on. Once this is on, it may be a little laggy while rendering, so if you have a lower-end computer, note that you may need to drop the resolution down to like 1/4 or something so that we can move at the same amount of time. It just helps your computer a little. Once we click on the adjustment layer, we're going to go to the lens flare. We're going to bring it to right in front of the lantern, so maybe right about there. And it'll take a second, and there we go. Now it's adjusted to it. And we're going to then animate the flare center and the flare brightness. Now, in the bottom, we've already done the swivel. So what we're going to do is go to the middle of the swivel, and we can find the middle but when it's just closest to 0 right here. So we are now at the middle of the swivel, which means the image is perfectly perpendicular to us again. So it started sort of slightly tilted to the left. It's now perfectly perpendicular. And whenever that happens, what we're going to do is we're going to just raise the flare brightness. Sort of like if there's a flashlight shining and you're rotating a camera around it, what we want is whenever the camera is looking directly at the flashlight, it's going to get brighter. So we're going to make it look brighter. And then whenever we move over to the right side, when it tilts all the way to the other angle, we're going to bring it back down to its original brightness, like so. And what we also want to do is, we've done this flare center, we want to move the flare center across the lamp as well. And this is just because, like I said, if there's a flashlight, it would move with it, where the light beam would sort of be slightly in front of it, and then as you move around it, slightly behind it. And now what we've done is we've actually sort of added a 3D element. We've focused the viewer's attention. Even though the bottom's going to look a little bit strange, what we're doing is we're making almost like a sort of like a magician, where we're sort of diverting people's attention away from that. And we can even crop this in if we really don't like this, or add more elements to sort of just distract. And that's really what a strong part of VFX is sort of drawing the user's attention, or drawing the viewer's attention away from the parts that might not be as realistic, and sort of pushing their focus towards what looks really good. Now, this is going to take a little while to play back, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, hit mark out, and then I'm just going to click the enter key and let this render out so we can look at our final product. And there we go, now it's rendered out so we can see the full animation. So let's go ahead and bring the play marker back, bring this to full screen, and this is what we've created. We've taken this 2D image and we've added this little 3D sort of fun to it. Thanks everyone for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, go and throw them in the comment section below on our website at adobemasters.net. If you want to see more videos similar to this one, go to that subscribe button and make a video every other day on Adobe related products. And until next time guys, see ya.